Welcome to the Long COVID podcast with me, Jackie Baxter. I am really excited to bring you today's episode. Please do check out the links in the show notes where you can find the podcast website, social media and support group, as well as a link to buy me a coffee if you are able. You should not rely on any medical information contained in this podcast and related materials in making medical, health-related or other decisions. Please do consult a doctor or other health professional. I love to hear from you. If you've got any suggestions or feedback or just want to say hey, then please do get in touch. I really hope you enjoy this episode, so here we go. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Long COVID podcast. As this is my first episode of 2026, I would like to start by taking this opportunity to wish you all a very happy new year. I hope you were able to find some peace and rest during the holiday season, whatever you were doing, and that you've had a gentle start to this new year so far. This episode today is actually quite a special moment for me, for the podcast, and for my wonderful guests and listeners. Because this episode is episode 200. A milestone that I would never have imagined reaching when I started this podcast in August 2021. I started this podcast during my own recovery journey at what was actually quite a dark time for me. This podcast felt like something that I could do when everything else was spinning out of control and everything felt completely hopeless. It feels like a different world to life now. But at the time, the podcast became a lifeline for me, but also for listeners all across the world. And although I am now fully recovered from long COVID and have been now for over 2 years, this podcast remains one of the most important things that I have ever done. It has evolved over time, and it's something that I'm incredibly proud of and committed to continuing. One of the greatest things about this podcast is that I've had the honour of connecting with so many wonderful people. People who have been guests on the podcast to share their expertise and experience. Listeners who have messaged me or commented with feedback, suggestions, their own experiences and thanks. People who I now am privileged to call colleagues, business partners and friends. And even the trolls, because they have taught me how to be more resilient. So although I'm the one sitting here sharing this milestone, as we gently arrive together in this episode, I'd like to extend a huge amount of gratitude to you for being a part of this journey. And it's my privilege to have been part of yours. One of the things that I discovered when long COVID came along for me was that life didn't always go to plan. I'm not saying that I'd had a charmed life up until then, but largely things had gone to plan. I'd had to work hard for things, but they generally worked out. And then I got sick and everything changed. Life was definitely not going to plan. It was scary, and the things that I did when things were difficult didn't work in this case. I imagine you can relate to that on some level at least. During my journey, I experienced the unpredictability of something like long COVID or ME/CFS. That complete loss of control of life. The grief of lost plans, all of those things I wanted to do, people I wanted to see, places I wanted to go to. Even just the ability to sit in my house and not feel like total shit. And constant recalibration. Just as I thought I was getting a handle on things, everything changed. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. And it felt like I had to start all over again. It was the worst experience of my life so far. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I'm able to see some of the lessons that I was learning, even right from the start, when I didn't realise that I was. That unpredictability doesn't mean failure. It actually means being human. because there's actually very little in life that we can control. And as a recovering control freak, I find that quite scary. And these were lessons that I've definitely had to remind myself of over the last 6 weeks. I pulled a tendon in my foot whilst out running at the end of November. Guys, don't try this. It really hurts. It's much improved now, but it's still causing me problems. And then my partner and I spent the Christmas holiday with a horrible cold, which, alongside the foot injury, made for a fairly miserable and frustrating time. My first instinct was to be angry and frustrated, which I was. And then I realised that there wasn't really anything I could do other than surrender to it, which I largely did. And me from pre-long COVID would have pushed on through and made it worse. Now, a few months of injury or a few weeks of an acute infection pales in comparison to my long COVID journey of over 3 years. But for me, it was a reminder that life doesn't always go to plan. Shit happens, and it really sucks. But the only thing that I can control in that situation is how I respond to it. And that is an important lesson that I learned during my long COVID journey. And this is why I think intentions are important. So, what are intentions? And how do they differ from goals? So, I see intentions as a direction, not a destination. So, a felt sense rather than a checklist. A way of orienting your energy, not measuring your productivity, which is what society has basically taught us to do. Intentions are a powerful, gentle anchor, not a rigid plan, but a direction. Goals are outcome-based. And I'm not saying they can't be useful in some situations, because they are. But I think in a health journey like this, intentions are gentler, they're more useful. Goals can feel heavy. Intentions can help us to feel more spacious and free. So, for example, a goal might be that you want to walk 20 minutes each day, or you want to be back at work by summer. An intention might look like, I want to feel more connected to my body today. Or maybe even simpler, an intention of calm, or balance, or ease. All words that I've used for intentions recently and that come up a lot with clients I work with. So maybe you have a word or phrase that has come up for you already this year, or maybe it's come up while I've been speaking today. And maybe you even want to write it down. See how it feels. So why are intentions important? So there's a few reasons here. So number one, cognitive priming. When we set an intention, we actually activate neural pathways that help to make us more likely to notice opportunities aligned with that intention. So it's giving the brain like a filter for what matters today. So number two, our reticular activating system, or RAS. So this part of the brain helps to determine what information gets through. So intentions can help our RAS to prioritise what feels meaningful or supportive. So if we have an intention of calm, that information that gets through is going to be information that helps to back this up. So it's a bit like when you never even think about seeing red cars, and then someone says, have you seen all those red cars on the road? And suddenly you see red cars everywhere. Number three, emotional regulation. So intentions can help to reduce that overwhelm by narrowing our focus. That helps to support our nervous system by offering clarity and a little bit more predictability, even when life feels incredibly unpredictable. So we're not getting tunnel vision, we're just coming inwards a little more, reducing that overwhelm. Number four, behavioural science. So small identity-based shifts are more sustainable than outcome-based goals. So again, something like, I am someone who treats myself gently. is going to be much more sustainable than the example I used earlier. I'm going to walk 20 minutes every day, because you might find that one day you can and the next day you can't. Intentions support self-compassion as well, which improves follow-through. And self-compassion is important. And then number 5, our nervous system. So our intentions influence our posture, our breath, our tone of voice, to mention a few things. They can help to shift our nervous system towards that safety and connection, and away from that danger, activation, shutdown. So intentions aren't woo-woo. They are a science-backed tool which will help you. It's not a quick fix. It's not a magic pill that will fix you overnight, but it's a strategy that can help you on your recovery journey. And I'm going to try to teach you how. So how to set intentions. There are different intentions that we can set. So we might have daily intentions, weekly, monthly, yearly, or maybe you have a different time frame in mind. That's totally fine. And we can set all of these different intentions. And I think they're useful for different reasons. So a daily intention, for example, it might be one word, one sentence, keep it simple. It might be something like ease or presence or gentleness. I will honour my energy, particularly if you have a challenging day ahead, or you're waking up and feeling a bit sluggish, not very energetic. You can even pair this with a breath or a grounding strategy. Our weekly intentions. So this might be more of a reflection on what you need more of or less of. You could ask yourself, what would support me this week? And remember to keep it adaptable, because we know that things can shift quickly. So it's important to be flexible. Monthly intentions give us a chance to zoom out slightly. You might have themes, rest, connection, creativity, boundaries. You might want to use journaling or voice notes if writing is too much. And you might find that these things change with the seasons, or as your capacity changes, or with life events. And then yearly intentions. I see this as a guiding word or phrase, a compass rather than a contract. And again, this can be revisited and revised as needed. It doesn't have to be fixed. Last year, my word was balance. I was trying to balance the ability to push and challenge myself with the need to be kinder to myself. So go for the run, but sit on the beach afterwards. So I found balance was really helpful for me last year. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing this year, so maybe you can help me out. Haven't decided yet. So some tips for making intentions actually supportive. Start small, like really small, microscopic. Let those intentions be fluid. Let them be flexible. They can change with your energy. Use sensory anchors. So use the breath. Use that sense of touch. Use your sense of sound. Avoid perfectionism, what I'm guilty of. Intentions are not promises. They are guides. Check in gently. How does this intention feel in my body today? And if it doesn't feel good, maybe it's not the right one for you today. And don't forget to celebrate the smallest shifts. Make sure you notice them and celebrate them in whatever way feels right to you. So let's take a few moments to set our intention for today. You may wish to close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. Relax your body and allow yourself to take a few grounding breaths. And remember that you can come back to this another time, come back to it as many times as you need to. So allowing the body to soften and just giving yourself a moment. Maybe it's the first moment you've given yourself all day. Starting to gently notice sensations in your body. Notice what's going on in your mind. Notice any emotions or feelings that are showing up. Let's not judge anything. Just notice with curiosity. And if you find this challenging, that's okay. No one is good at something the first time they do it. So allowing yourself to take a couple more breaths. And then let's tune into the body and ask, what do I need today? What does my body need today? Not what you want, not what you should do or you should be, not what someone else wants. What does your body genuinely need right now? Maybe you want to take a few more breaths and ask yourself that question again. What does your body genuinely need right now? And as you do that, I invite you to choose one word or feeling. Don't overthink it. Whatever comes into your mind first is often the most useful. It might be a word, a phrase, a feeling, or an image. Whatever shows up for you. Let's take a few more grounding breaths as you breathe in your intention. And then, when you're ready, gently opening your eyes, easing yourself back into your space. Maybe taking a very gentle stretch or wriggle if it feels comfortable. And taking your time. And again, knowing you can come back to this anytime you need to. So you might find it useful to write down your intention. If it was me, I would write it on a post-it note. You know me. Maybe you're feeling creative and you want to use it as a prompt for a poem or a painting or drawing or music. You might wish to reflect privately by using it as a journaling prompt. This intention is the lens through which you make your choices. Do they align with your intention or not? And if they don't, can you find a way to align with that intention a little more? Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. It can be flexible. It can change as it needs to. The important thing is that you've done it. I've got an intention setting practice on Insight Timer, which is free. So I'll link that in the show notes. You're welcome to use it if it's helpful to you. Remember that this intention can change. It's not set in stone. It's not a rigid structure. It's a guide, a compass, a direction to help guide you forwards in your recovery. So thank you for joining me today for this 200th episode of the Long COVID podcast. 200 episodes of community learning, and shared humanity. Thank you so much to you for showing up, for sharing, for your support of the podcast, and for being you, because you're awesome. If you'd like to share your intentions, I'd love to hear from you. You can drop me a comment on social media, drop me a fan mail through the link in the show notes, or drop me an email. Remember, I can't reply to fan mails. I'll be back next week with more fantastic guests. I'm really excited to share some of the episodes that are going to be going out over the next few weeks. Until then, know that you're doing the best you can, and that is enough. I wish you a very gentle January and increasing joy for 2026. Take care.
Thank you so much to all of my guests, and to you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it useful. The Long COVID podcast is entirely self-produced and self-funded. I'm doing all of this myself. If you're able to, please go to buymeacoffee.com/longcovidpod to help me cover the costs of hosting the podcast. Please look out for the next episode of the Long COVID podcast. It's available on all the usual podcast hosting things. And do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you.